Hi everyone. I just want to thank everyone for coming here today to my presentation. I'm representing plant-based health professionals, and despite the name, anyone can join. We have loads of incredible events, social nights, giveaways, and lots of different ways in which you can learn more about plant-based nutrition. So our stall is just over there. We'll be there all day, so come by and say hi. There's also loads of incredible talks in this room all day on everything from meat alternatives to plant-based athletes. So if you're looking to enhance your knowledge of plant-based nutrition, you've come to the right place. So as mentioned, I'm Rohini. I am a nutritionist in the UK, and I specialize in plant-based nutrition. But today I'm going to be speaking about things you need to know before you go vegan. Now, it's quite a big topic, so I'm not going to be able to cover every single thing, but I want to give you a basic toolkit so you understand what comprises a healthy vegan diet. Not all of them are the same, so I want to give you an idea of the essential nutrients you need to fuel your body. So first, let's discuss what the difference is between a vegan diet and a whole foods plant-based diet. You've probably heard these words used quite interchangeably, but there are some key differences. Firstly, veganism is so much more than a diet. It really is an ethical lifestyle that's about abstaining from animal products insofar as it's possible. And this includes avoiding all animal products in food, as well as in clothing, in shoes, and entertainment. So we're basically against using animals for human entertainment or enjoyment. Whereas people on a whole foods plant-based diet may eat this way for health reasons. So this is mostly about eating whole grains, fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts and seeds. This really is a dietary choice that people predominantly choose for their health. However, you can be both a vegan and follow a whole foods plant-based diet. For example, the Greggs sausage roll, which is vegan, definitely isn't whole foods plant-based, but you can eat a diet that's made up of all of these things while still being an ethical vegan and making an impact on the world. So what are the reasons for going vegan? Well, there's so many reasons now that it's almost easier to ask, why shouldn't you go vegan? And I'm here today to really focus on health reasons. We're seeing the rise of chronic lifestyle conditions such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and many different lifestyle cancers. And this is sort of skyrocketing, especially in the UK and the US. And we know that a whole foods plant-based diet can really help with many of these conditions. When it comes to the environment, we're all growing increasingly aware of the catastrophic effects of animal agriculture on the planet. And we know, according to a study from Oxford University, that the single biggest way that you can lower your impact on planet Earth is by avoiding meat and dairy. And when it comes to the ethical considerations, just ask yourselves, if we're able to live healthy, if we're able to have a healthy diet, thrive eating this way, and we don't need to cause the unnecessary suffering of so many millions of animals. It's actually 60 billion land animals that are killed for food every single year, and 3 trillion different sea creatures. Then why are we participating in this? So today I want to talk a little bit about a lot of different scare stories that are often in the media. People who go vegan and feel that if they get a cold that it's because of the diet. Well, all of these foods are technically vegan, and Oreo is an accidentally vegan product, French fries, banana, and lettuce salad. And there are some healthy foods in there, but there are also some unhealthy foods in there. And comprised together, this doesn't really make a healthy vegan diet. So it's important to recognize that not all vegan diets are created equal. There are healthy vegan diets, and there can be unhealthy vegan diets as well. But we want to really focus on the former so that we can thrive, we can get the most benefits for our health. So the BBC published an article day before yesterday, which I found rather scaremongering and concerning, saying that it's only possible to be a healthy vegan if you're knowledgeable, careful, and obsessive about it. I just don't think that's true. It is important, however, to learn the nutrition basics, empower yourself with this knowledge. just remember that even omnivores are deficient in so many different micronutrients. This is why the government has introduced things such as mandatory folate fortification of flour and things like that over the years. So we know that it's very possible to thrive on a plant-based diet. The Vegan Society has some excellent resources, and so does our website, plantbasedhealthprofessionals.com, where you can find webinars, fact sheets, and lots of different other resources, no matter what your health concern might be. And if you're at all concerned, if you're feeding a very young child, or you have, for example, a nut allergy or a soy allergy, I advise seeing a nutritionist or a dietitian. This can just empower you with the knowledge that you need so that you'll know that you're getting the nutrients that you need. However, there is plenty of information online. If you're concerned and your doctor agrees to this, you can go to the GP and ask for this. I recommend having a blood test before you begin, and then before you transition, and then again at 6 months and 12 months. This just gives you the understanding of whether or not you're getting everything that you need. For example, if your blood test showed that you're slightly lower in iron, you might switch to iodized salt and adding in things such as nori flakes and things like that. And it can also give you the added boost you need, because you look at your results and you go, wow, my cholesterol has really dropped. I'm definitely going to stick with this way of eating. I'm now going to talk a little bit about the studies that are out there, because you might be thinking to yourself, okay, what about the evidence? So the EPIC Oxford study was started in 1993, and it looked at the diets of 96,000 different participants, and cancer rates were about 20% lower in vegans compared to health-conscious meat eaters. So this is compared to meat eaters who are actually health-conscious. They're going to the gym, they're probably eating quite a lot of lean meat, and they're relatively healthy. In the Adventist Health Study 2, the risk of diabetes was 62% lower among vegans compared to similar health-conscious meat eaters. This is quite a striking difference. And vegans were also 44% less likely than meat eaters to have hypertension or high blood pressure. We also know they were less than twice as likely to be obese. So following a whole foods plant-based diet can also really help with weight management as well. But you might be thinking to yourselves, okay, we've got these studies, but what is the long-term evidence for all of this? Have any of you heard of the blue zones before this? Just if you raise your hands if you've heard of the blue zones. So there are 5 places in the world where people live the longest and healthiest. They live not just long, they don't sort of live till 100 with chronic disease, but they're thriving, eating a whole foods plant-based diet. They're playing with their grandchildren, going out for a walk, living their best lives. And these 5 places are quite far-flung from each other. We've got Okinawa in Japan, Sardinia in Italy, Nicoya in Costa Rica, and Ikaria in Greece, and a group of the Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California. Now, they do lots of other things that help them lead a healthy life, such as having a sense of community, having a purpose, being physically active, and integrating that into their lifestyle. So they're naturally very active. But one of the most defining features of the blue zones is that 95% of their calories comes from whole plant foods, which is quite exceptional. Beans are the cornerstone of all blue zone diets, and we're going to be talking a lot more about beans and legumes later in this talk. But this is a fantastic book by National Geographic researcher Dan Buettner, so I really recommend reading it if you're interested in understanding longevity. What are my tips for transitioning to a healthy plant-based diet? Well, I really recommend transitioning over time. It's a great idea to start crowding out animal foods, and it's so much easier to do this in 2019 than it ever has been before. Instead of the cow's milk, go for the fortified oat milk or soy milk. Instead of the butter, try and go for avocado or something else to replace it. And I recommend starting with breakfast. It's one of the easiest meals to veganize. If you love eggs, why not try a tofu scramble with lots of vegetables? If you love porridge with cow's milk, have it with a plant-based milk and lots of fruit and berries and flaxseed. Only 1 in 10 of UK adults is currently getting enough fiber, just showing how deficient we are in this incredibly important nutrient that is so protective for so many chronic diseases. And make vegan versions of your favorite food. One of the best ways to transition to this way of eating is eating what you love. Sometimes it can be really overwhelming. What on earth do I eat? If you love mac and cheese, try plant-based mac and cheese. There's so many recipes online for these things. Instead of spaghetti bolognese, try a lentil ragu. I've got a really good recipe on my website for that one. And also sign up to Challenge 22. This is a great website. So if you've tried Veganuary and you've enjoyed it, then Challenge 22 is a really great tool, and it gives you a lot of free online guidance. It's completely free to sign up, and they give you recipes every single day, loads of tips and tricks. Learn the science and educate yourself so you can answer all the questions from your friends and family. Which brings me on to the main question that everyone's been asked at some point. Where do you get your protein? Has everyone in this room sort of heard about this question, sort of where do vegans get their protein? Well, it's actually very difficult to be protein deficient unless you're simply not eating enough calories. So for example, if you are suffering from a disordered eating, or you're living in a place where you're not able to get enough calories, such as in a famine, we need about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And if you're very athletic, you're very physically fit, I recommend staying tuned, because Dr. Leila Degan is going to be doing an amazing talk about plant-based athletes and how you can get enough protein if you're working out a lot. But in terms of protein and plant-based protein, it's important to include some good sources in your meals. So you want to include lots of legumes. So these include beans, lentils, peas, and soy. Soy is a fantastic source of protein. Edamame, tofu, tempeh, soy milk. These are all minimally processed as well. So you're getting all the protective benefits of the fiber and the other phytoestrogens. And quinoa, 1 cup of quinoa has a huge amount of protein as well. So whole grains also contain protein, but you want to eat the grains that are unrefined. And what about iron? This is another hot topic. This is one of the most common nutritional deficiencies in the world. It's estimated that about 1/3 of the world is deficient in iron, suffering from anemia. And this can affect so many different things, such as maternal health and lots of different health outcomes. However, despite what people think, it's not more prevalent amongst vegans and vegetarians at all. And we just need to be vigilant to include some good sources of iron. And if we're eating a whole foods plant-based diet, there's no reason why we can't get enough of that. So you want to include some good sources if you are prone to anemia already, such as legumes, oats, dates, dark leafy greens and vegetables. And don't drink alcohol, coffee, or tea with your meals. These are iron thieves, so they really inhibit the uptake of iron. Pair vitamin C rich foods with iron to increase the uptake as well. So there's just some handy tricks you can do. So red peppers are high in vitamin C. So you could have a stir fry with broccoli and red peppers, or you could have some lemon juice on your dark leafy greens, or some berries with your porridge. Oats are high in iron and berries are high in vitamin C. So this can really help. Calcium is another nutrient of concern that a lot of people worry about. But there's no reason to, because you can get all the calcium you need from whole plant foods. Dark leafy green vegetables, particularly the ones I've listed here, are low oxalate, so that can help you absorb more iron, such as rocket, broccoli, bok choy, watercress, and kale. And choose fortified plant milks and yogurt. So you can get fortified soy yogurt, oat milk. Just look on the label and it will tell you as well. And eat lots of legumes, tofu, chia seeds, almond butter. Almond butter has slightly more calcium than peanut butter. It's a fun fact. So if you're a fan of that, then that's a good thing to have as well. And avoid high intakes of sodium, caffeine, and alcohol. All of these things can really rob your body of the iron and calcium that I've mentioned. Make smart swaps. Just remember, when you're transitioning to this way of eating, you just need to be mindful that when you're taking out something, you need to add something in. So if you're replacing animal-based foods, you need to replace them with plant foods that are nutritionally appropriate. So for example, you'd want to replace meat with legumes, tofu, and tempeh. Just bulk up your meals with these things. Replace cow's milk with plant milk. So oat and soya are the two winners, both in terms of the environment as well as our health. Soya is definitely top of the charts. And calcium-rich plant foods such as dark leafy greens. Sorry. And most importantly, it's important to be patient. It takes 21 days to break a habit. And just remember your why. If you've done this because of the environment, watch a documentary such as Cowspiracy, or motivate yourself in whichever way possible. Or if it's for the animals, going and visiting a local animal sanctuary and just being in touch with the beautiful sentient beings there can just remind you of why you chose to make this switch. And if it's for your health, just learn the nutrition basics and remember that you're doing one of the best things that you can do for your health out there. Be compassionate with yourself and others. If you slip up, don't just think, oh, I'm never going to be vegan, or I'm never going to be able to be plant-based. That's it, I just love bacon too much. Move on from that. If you slip up, move on, because you're living in a non-vegan world. You are doing things that are outside the norm that a lot of people might find unusual. Your friends and family might be feeling, oh, this is really different. You're eating differently. Why are you doing this? You might face resistance, but just keep at it, because it can be a journey for everyone. And I've been plant-based for many, many years, but I'm still learning every single week. So just remember, you can't be expected to know all the facts just from the get-go. You're going to learn as you go along. It is a beautiful journey. So fill at least half of your plates with fruits and vegetables. So you want to have lots of vegetables, eat the rainbow here, and then lots of different colorful fruits here. So you want to really have an array of different colors on your plate. You want to have legumes, a small amount of nuts and seeds. So when we eat nuts and seeds, we want to really have just about a handful. It's important to include some healthy fats in our diet. So avocados, nuts, seeds, soy, they're all some good healthy fats that we want. And in terms of grains, about a quarter of the plate. So this is just quite a good guide to understand how our plate should look. And again, some examples of the calcium-rich foods there are the tofu and the soy milk and things. This was developed by registered dietitian Brenda Davis, and it's available on her website as well. So what do you need to thrive on a whole foods plant-based diet? These are some really good tips that you can follow. Base your meals around whole plant foods and aim for at least 9 to 10 servings of colorful vegetables and fruits every day. You might have heard of the fiber day, but we need a lot more than that to really get the benefits. So we should all be crowding our plate with lots of this. And opt for whole grains. There's so many different whole grains to discover out there. There's black rice, quinoa, oat groats, millet, barley, amaranth. There's probably lots more that you maybe haven't tried yet either. Try to get at least 3 or more servings of legumes every day. So that includes tofu, peas, lentils, even peanut butter counts. And add in fermented foods where you can, which are really great for healthy guts, such as kimchi or sauerkraut. Or if you like to drink, then a kombucha can be a really healthy swap instead of having a glass of wine. Take a good quality vegan B12 supplement. This is really important, and this is the one supplement that we cannot get on a plant-based diet because of the fact that our soil is so deficient in it now. We used to be able to get that a couple of 100 years ago from the soil. B12 is actually made by bacteria in the soil, but we're no longer able to. Even farm animals are given injections so that they're supplemented. So you want to take a supplement containing 1,000 micrograms of B12 around twice a week. What about omega-3 fatty acids? No, you don't need fish for omega-3 fatty acids. You can get all you need from plants and with a DHA EPA supplement if you wish. So what you want to choose is one of these every day. 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds or chia seeds, a quarter cup of hemp seeds, or a quarter cup of walnuts. It's important to mill the flaxseed and the chia seeds to be able to absorb the alpha-linoleic acid, which is present in that. And if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, I certainly recommend having an algae-derived DHA and EPA, and you may wish to have that anyway. And this is the amount that you need, 250 micrograms of pollutant-free long-chain omega-3s. However, this isn't essential. This isn't a recommendation that all vegans need to take. You can get enough from the plant-based sources. What about vegan when pregnant? Every single day you'll see an article in the Daily Mail or another newspaper saying vegan infant dies from malnutrition. Well, there are unfortunately millions of children that are neglected and aren't able to get all the nutrition that they need. And what we know, every single major dietetics and nutrition organization in the world says that it's not only possible to be vegan when you're pregnant, but you can have a very healthy vegan pregnancy and you can set the stage for a lifetime of good health. How incredible would it be if you were born without the cravings for cheese and all the other fatty foods that are present in a standard British or American diet? And they also say that a plant-based diet is appropriate for all stages of the life cycle. So not just from the womb, but right up to older adults and everything else. If you're not a fan of cooking, you'll be pleased to know that there are so many more plant-based options out there in the supermarkets nowadays. There's Wicked Healthy in Tesco, All Plants, which is a plant-based meal delivery service, Plant Kitchen and M&S, which is a personal favorite. But what I really recommend is just carving out the time to batch cook. It doesn't take very long to boil a few potatoes, batch cook some greens, roast some vegetables, chop some raw veggies and fruits. And I like to meal prep, so on a Sunday I'll sort of lay out my Tupperware and make sure that I've got lunch for the week. This is also make sure that I've got all the nutrition that I need and that I'm also saving money instead of buying lots of convenience products. So what do I eat in a day? This is typically what I would have for breakfast on a normal day. I usually start with a bowl of porridge. So I have something like oat groats. So oat groats are the great-grandmother of rolled oats, so they're even more unprocessed. You can also go for steel-cut oats. And I'd have that with some plant milk, lots of berries, ground flaxseed, walnuts, and so on. And sometimes I would have a smoothie or a bowl of fruit. But if you're more of a savory person, you could have a tofu scrambled with some grilled mushrooms and a bit of avocado. And just to add to this, this isn't only what I eat, but also what my partner eats. And he's extremely athletic and might increase his portion size slightly, but this is the kind of diet that you can have no matter whether you're a man, you're a woman, or you're an infant. What about snacks? The idea to carry some healthy plant-based snacks in your handbag. I'm infamous amongst my friends and family for always having a lot of different snacks on the go. So you could carry something simple, just like a piece of fresh fruit or some crudités with hummus or some energy balls. And this can just keep you going if you're out and about, or particularly if you're going to an event where vegan foods might not be very widely available. With lunch, I recommend batch cooking for the week, so a big load of pasta or a big curry with rice. Nutritional yeast is one of my favorite ingredients. It's full of micronutrients, and you can get the one that's fortified with B12. It has a sort of slightly nutty, cheesy flavor, and it's really delicious. Makes a really creamy sauce as well for pasta and for lasagna. And in terms of salad, you can get a lot more interesting whole foods plant-based options now as well. For dinner, I always try and get a lot of legumes in, so I would have a tempeh-based dish and vegetable curry or dal, and always a green salad on the side. And this just makes sure that I'm flooding my body with as many nutrients as possible. So as mentioned, my partner might add slightly more to his diet by adding a slightly bigger portion of the curry or a bit more dal, but it definitely fills us both up, and it's really delicious. Eating out has become a pleasure being vegan in this country. There's so many more options. All the major high street food chains have loads of plant-based options. And if you go to a restaurant and it doesn't have a vegan option, just give them a call in advance or email them and say that you'd love to give them some ideas, or maybe you could suggest just a simple pasta with lots of vegetables. But when I eat out, I'm not as strict with the whole foods plant-based diet. I do like to have some vegan pizza now and then. I'm definitely going to be having some today. And when it comes to supplements, this is what I take on a regular basis. So I would take the B12 twice a week, so I'm getting about 2,000 to 2,500 micrograms. Plant-based omega-3, I take this a couple of times a week or when I remember. And vitamin D, just a reminder that no matter what your diet is in the UK, we all need to be taking vitamin D at this time of year. From the end of September to the start of April, we're not able to manufacture enough vitamin D from the sun. It just isn't strong enough. So I highly recommend that. Veg One, the Vegan Society is actually selling this today. This is a great all-rounder nutrient, and it also has a little bit of iodine and other things inside it as well. These are some resources that I think might really help you with your journey as well. So How Not to Die is a brilliant Bible for whole foods plant-based nutrition by Dr. Greger, tackling how a whole foods plant-based diet can have a monumental impact on our health, whether or not it's down to some lifestyle cancers, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, or hypertension. The China study is the largest nutritional study ever conducted to date by Dr. T. Colin Campbell, and it's a fantastic book for any of you who enjoy a more kind of sciencey read out there. Becoming Vegan is a great book for anyone who wants to understand what a healthy vegan diet looks like at all stages of the life cycle. And it's written by a registered dietitian, Brenda Davis. It's highly recommended. With podcasts, if you enjoy listening to podcasts, these are two that I absolutely love. Rich Roll is an amazing athlete, and he gets lots of different people on his talk. It's not just about veganism, but it's also about having a healthier mindset and achieving your goals. So I really recommend that one. The Plant Proof podcast has lots of incredible guests as well. It's by Simon Hill. And again, these are all available for free on Spotify, Acast, and all of the other apps. I think a lot of people in this room would have seen some of these documentaries. Put your hands up if you have seen Game Changers. Yeah, I think that has really changed the game, so to speak, for lots of different people out there, and showing amazing plant-based athletes, showing that you don't have to be you don't have to eat meat to be big and strong. And there's going to be some amazing talks later today. Layla's doing one on plant-based nutrition and athletes just after this. Forks Over Knives is an amazing documentary all about the benefits of a whole foods plant-based diet and even reversal of certain chronic conditions. And Earthlings is one that I highly recommend if you're interested in understanding how this is a very compassionate way to live. And if you are choosing to eat meat, it's a good one to watch to understand where this is coming from and where your meat is coming from. For cookbooks, a lot of people, like myself included, like to try new recipes, and it can really help make this journey a bit more exciting. Bosch has a new book which is called Healthy Vegan. Vegan Rich's Everyday Kitchen has incredible food from Indian to Jamaican, and there's lots of different options, even oil-free options for those who want to eliminate that from their diet. The Happy Pear has loads of great, delicious whole foods plant-based recipes, curries and lasagna and all kinds of things, and they know how to make whole plant foods taste really good. So I recommend investing in a good cookbook. My website, rohinibajekal.com, has over 40 blogs, articles, recipes, tips and tricks to make this transition. So do check that out. I'm also on Instagram at Rohini Bajekal. I share every single day posts about nutrition, so I might do things like top 10 ways to get zinc, top 10 ways to get iron, and so on. And you can also see some of the meals that I like to create. And I know this is a huge topic, so you might have lots of questions even after the Q&A, but do get in touch with me. This is my email address up there. I'm also going to be on the store all day, and you can also DM me on Instagram or anything else. We've got loads of other great talks, so please come and stay tuned today, because we've got talks on everything from meat alternatives to plant-based protein. So come along. There's lots of other stuff obviously going on, but have a look at the schedule and see what takes your fancy. Thank you so much for coming. And